This episode is brought to you by Kia's first 3-row, all-electric SUV, the Kia EV9, with available all-wheel drive and seating for up to 7 adults, with 0 to 60 speed that thrills you 1 minute and available lounge seats that unwind you the next. Visit kia.com/EV9 to learn more. Ask your Kia dealer for availability. No system, no matter how advanced, can compensate for all driver error and or driving conditions. Always drive safely.
This is Optimal Living Daily, episode 3127, Stop Feeding Your Brain Mental Garbage, Part 2, by Michael Mehlberg of michaelmehlberg.com. And I'm Justin Malik. Happy Friday. Welcome to the old podcast, the OLD podcast, Optimal Living Daily, where I read to you like a big ongoing audiobook from many different authors. And today being a continuation from yesterday, so I'd recommend listening to yesterday's episode first. But if you're all caught up, let's get right to part 2. And start optimizing your life. Stop Feeding Your Brain Mental Garbage, Part 2, by Michael Mehlberg of michaelmehlberg.com. It may be time for your brain to go on a diet. If we started at ground zero with no inputs whatsoever, we'd go mad. Volunteers observed in Antarctica research stations where they were isolated in their facilities by dangerous temperatures and 24 hours of darkness, experienced high degrees of stress, feelings of torment, changes to sleep and appetite, and the inability to track the passage of time. Furthermore, quote, studies confirm that loneliness isn't good for anyone's health. It increases levels of stress hormones in the body while leading to poor sleep, a compromised immune system, and in the elderly, cognitive decline, end quote. From The Conversation. Humans need input. We crave interaction. And once we have fulfilled the base needs of human connection and mental stimulation to keep us stress-free and on a normal sleeping and eating schedule, the rest of what we consume either enhances or detracts from our ideal state of being. It's the very reason we must put our brain on a healthy diet. Or said another way, we must curate our inputs. The television we watch can be a great source of entertainment, think Stranger Things on Netflix, a venue for deep thinking, think Handmaid's Tale on Hulu, or a wellspring of information that changes how we view the world and what we think of others. We can't control what the networks create, but we can control what we allow to influence us. Similarly, when the people we follow on social media show up in our feeds, we consume the information they create. We allow them to enter into our mind to influence us. And while we can't control what they publish, we can and should curate our feeds such that the people we allow in are the kinds of people that will nourish and inspire us to be who we want to be. The friends we keep, the books we read, the food we eat, everything we consume can be curated. By curating our inputs, we can enhance the quality of our thinking and being. In turn, this can lead us to make better, smarter, and faster decisions. We'll feel good about ourselves, our relationships, our world. We'll attain higher levels of focus, clarity, and discipline in pursuit of our goals. Knowing what we want. Curating your inputs starts by knowing what you want to get out of your life. What is your why, your purpose, your reason for being? Knowing your why is fundamentally essential to changing your behavior for the better. Without knowing our why, you'll mindlessly consume the next television show, the next social media post, the next New York Times bestseller. All of these inputs will change your behavior, but because you're not aligning them with your why, your behavior will be changed at the whim of marketers and advertisers and news outlets, all of who have their own goals and objectives, none of which align with yours. When you know your why, you'll understand how who you follow on social media inspires you, informs you, and guides you in the direction of your goals or doesn't. When you know your why, you'll understand which books you should read to produce the ideal version of yourself. When you know your why, you'll know which habits to create and what friends to keep to help you live the life you've always envisioned. Garbage in, garbage out. What goes in must come out. Of course, you can't control what other people spew out into the world, but you can take efforts to filter what you allow in. That means curating who you put in your social media diet, who you befriend, the books you read, what you watch on TV. It's a diet for your brain. Fill yourself with one crappy news article after another, and you'll feel crappy. Surround yourself with miserable people, and you'll become miserable. Read thoughtless books or listen to thoughtless podcasts, and you guessed it, you'll think thoughtless thoughts. Do the opposite, and you'll become the opposite. There's no excuse for not surrounding yourself with information that'll make you smarter and more effective. There's no benefit to spending countless hours sifting through social media articles posted by people you followed ages ago for reasons unknown, reasons that don't align with your goals, reasons that don't help you become smarter, better, stronger, more empathetic. There's no reason you can't build a relationship with nearly anyone in the world, extending your reach and influence while increasing your self-worth. Control the inputs in your life, your friends, those you follow on social media, the books you read, the television you watch, the news you consume. All have an effect on you. Maybe not immediately felt or seen, but an effect nonetheless. Why not make that effect a positive one? Quote, I don't know the books I read last year any more than the food I ate. Even so, they have changed me. Mark Twain. You just listened to part 2 of the post titled, Stop Feeding Your Brain Mental Garbage by Michael Mehlberg of michaelmehlberg.com, and I'll be right back with my commentary. Being in control of my health means being super mindful of what I put in my body, which is why I'm so excited to tell you all about Thorne. Thorne takes a personalized and scientific approach to health and wellness with their supplements. They manufacture all their supplements in the U.S. using top-notch ingredients sourced globally. Plus, they team up with leading medical professionals to bring highly effective nutritional supplements to over 5 million customers, 47,000 healthcare pros, and 100 plus pro sports teams, including multiple U.S. national teams. I got their product GI Relief, which has ingredients shown to help gastrointestinal discomfort, and it's helping me. And I particularly love that all the Thorne supplements I checked, which were independently tested, were approved or even ranked as the lab's top choice. Give your body what it really needs with Thorne. Go to thorne.fit/optimal and use code OPTIMAL for 10% off your first order. That's THORNE.fit/optimal, code OPTIMAL for 10% off your first order. Thorne.fit/optimal, code OPTIMAL. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not limited to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Thank you again to Michael. He pretty much summarized the purpose of this podcast pretty nicely and why I continue to read to you every day and from a bunch of different authors specifically, as opposed to just one or a handful. We have hundreds of authors that have given us permission now, and that's exactly what I prefer. Because, like he said, read thoughtless books or listen to thoughtless podcasts and you'll think thoughtless thoughts. Do the opposite and you'll become the opposite. And that's definitely been true in my own life. I know I've mentioned it before, but if I start watching a bunch of true crime documentaries or listen to a bunch of true crime podcasts, I start to become way too suspicious of the average person. It's not good. And it's crazy to think about how something so small, it seems, just a show, could have such a big impact in our lives and the way we think. But it's subtle. It's not super obvious unless you're paying attention. And like Michael said, curating your life. Small changes can make a huge impact. So thank you to Michael for this reminder. I really appreciate you being here every day and listening, and I really hope that the mission of this podcast is working for you, bringing a little bit of positivity so that goodness infiltrates our lives instead of the opposite. And it's with you listening every day that I can keep going every day. And in that way, you're making my life better too. So it's nice how that works. Have a great start to your weekend, and I'll be back tomorrow and over the weekend, so I'll see you there where your optimal life awaits.